I'm a music teacher and I've never heard the music from Deep Rock Galactic before in my life. So join me as we discover hidden connections, understand how music works, and have some fun along the way. We're going to jump in and get started with Into the Abyss. And let me know in the chat how the music and sound is coming through on your end. We're going somewhere. All right, chat, is it about to loop? Or are we gonna go somewhere with this? Let me know. Somewhere. All right, now, I don't normally jam out this early in OST, but like when we're hanging out with some beautiful ambient music like that, that's just slowly and so tastefully progressing towards telling more of a story, again, in an ambient way. Oh, sometimes it's fun to break out that guitar. Chat, let me know, how's the mix on your end? Can you hear the voice when I'm talking? Can you hear the guitar? And can you hear the music clearly? I'd love to get your feedback on how it's sounding over there in your world. Now let's talk about a concept called ostinato. Ostinato is a fancy music term which means repeating so much it could be described as being stubborn. All right, so for example, if I say, let's go eat some peanut butter, and you say no, and I'm like, no, let's go eat some peanut butter, and you say no, and I said, let's go eat some peanut butter, and you say no. I've asked you 3 times to eat peanut butter. You might be saying, this guy's stubborn. The way he's asking me to go eat some peanut butter with him, and why does he need help and company for eating peanut butter in the first place? All relevant questions. The point is, I asked you so many times, I appeared stubborn. And so when something in the music repeats so many times, you might describe it as being stubborn. We'd call that ostinato. And so there's a couple ostinato elements in this OST so far, just in this one piece, which is Into the Abyss. Now that we're in the Abyss, let's check out Attack of the Glyphids. Oh, is that now not doubled anymore on the music? That'll do it. I was like, this is a very interesting choice for how the OST was sounding. Thanks for the heads up on that. Love that anvil. That's an anvil sound right there. All right, let's talk about 2 things on this piece of Attack of the Glyphids. First, it's the use of the actual anvil sound. Now, I'm looking at the artwork for the OST of this game, and literally it says on it, danger, darkness, dwarves. So having an anvil sound with an OST having to do with dwarves makes a lot of sense, because if you think about a dwarf, you think of it banging out some, metal stuff on an anvil. So when you hear that metallic clang, that's the actual sound of a hammer hitting an anvil. And yes, if you're wondering, the anvil is actually an orchestral instrument that you can find in orchestras. So yeah, anvil, real instrument. Also, you can use it for other stuff, but also an instrument. Now, the second thing for us to talk about is the use of quasi. Quasi means kind of, sort of sound effects in this piece of music. Almost sounded like big lasers being shot. Going around like, right there, that meow, meow, kind of sounds like a laser being shot. Now, which is really interesting and brings up an interesting question of composing music for games. It's like, okay, if that, like, let's say that is a sound effect, do we want the sound effects baked into the track, or do we want the sound effects as a sound effect in the game? Sometimes you want the sound effects baked into the music. Like I'm literally working on an OST right now for a game called Medieval Legends. And the developer was like, I want you to put the sound of a boxing ring bell in the music. And I was like, you sure you don't want this as a sound effect? He was like, no, I want this as part of the music. So there's artistic choices to be made about bringing sound effects into music or not, as the case may be. Interesting to hear in this piece of music, perhaps it's a sound effect, perhaps it isn't. Either way, it brings up an interesting conversation. Let's keep it going with The Deep Dive. Another ambient track here, seems like. Sorry. I'll behave myself. Another interesting atmospheric track there in the key of D minor. Let's check out Hold My Beard. Oh, let's go. Type a G if you could hear the guitar on that. Not my beats, but that was fun. Oh, this is so cool. All right, really cool, interesting stuff going there. We actually had a chord progression in there, which was... Tell me, is the guitar doubled on your end or just my end? I'm wondering. It sounds doubled to me. I wonder if you're hearing double guitar. If I do this... Is that now just one guitar instead of two? I wonder. Anyway, so we have a chord progression, which is, we're starting in the key of E minor. And we did a 1, 5 to a flat 3, 5. Then it went to a flat 6, 5, then down to a 4, 5. And that there was the chord progression we heard in Hold My Beer. Sounds like this. Added fourth in there at the end. All right, let's check out this next one, which is They're Here. Ooh. Interesting. Ooh. Ooh. Look out. That was sick. So what we heard in there was metric modulations. Metric modulation is a fancy way of saying we hear this at the start. Rewind for me here. We hear this. Which I'd go ahead and call us as being in 12/8 there, the time signature. 1 T dot, 2 T dot, 3 T dot, 4 T dot. And then it changes over here. Where we are in Duckgong, 1 and 1 and 2 and 3. It sounds now like we're in 4/4, but then it goes back to 12/8. I don't know why I'm writing these like fractions today. That's very silly. All right, 12/8. And then goes to 4/4, and then it goes back to that 12/8. That really cool. Symmetric modulation just means it's changing. And so what does that change? Well, if we're in 12/8, we have 4 beats in each one of the measures. Now, if you're wondering what a measure is, well, imagine you have a measuring cup. A measuring cup can only hold so much flour or water. In the same way, in music, we have measures, which is like a measuring cup that can only hold so much time that the music is going to happen in. So we have a measuring cup that's holding 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And after we say 4, there's no more space in that measuring cup. We're going to go to the next measuring cup or measure, right? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 beats in 12/8 per measure, and then we also have 4 beats in 4/4. Now here's the difference. We have to say, well, 4/4 and then 12/8, there's 4 beats in both. What gives? What's the difference? Well, let me show you what the difference is. The difference is in 12/8, each one of those beats is divided into 3 equal parts, whereas in 4/4, each one of those beats is divided into 2 equal parts. And so it's the change of the underlying feeling of the groups of 3 to the groups of 2, and that creates the metric modulation from 12/8 to 4/4. All right, let's go to the next one. Yo, this is an 8-minute long piece of music. Buckle up, my buttercups. We're going on a ride. Blade Runner, I can say. Oh, it's not over. Oh my goodness. What a fun track. I'm really enjoying, oftentimes we listen to soundtracks that are melodically driven. We'd call that thematic music. This music is not so melodically driven, at least not so far. It's very much ambient driven and groove driven music. And by the way, if you're a gamer and you want to make your own music, I've got a program called the Gamer Music Creator Guild where gamers do just that. In fact, our average right now is 72 days from folks who've never made music before coming into our program to having their music on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music. And it's not just any music, it's music they're actually proud of, that they enjoy making. And then we even have clients going and making music for games. And I myself have made music for games, so I help you do just that and create your own music, get it out on Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Music. So you can get a free starter pack. It's in the video description. It's also in the pinned comments. free video game composer starter pack. Click on that, check it out. If you want to take your stuff to the next level, go ahead. There's a booking thing on the next page. You can talk to my team. We'll get you set up, get you creating your own music. With that said, let's keep cooking this thing with Petrified Fury. Well, I gotta tell you, what an incredible track, and just the way it built. So it starts off with this, and then it ends with, but along the way, for one moment, for one brief moment, it was like, we're in C sharp minor, and then it went to the 4, and then, oh, it was back in. So what was happening there is the tension. A lot of the tension was, number one, coming from the fact that there were ostinato figures being used. That ostinato, that repeating so much, it would sound stubborn. Now, the second thing that was contributing to it was the interval that was heard. That right there, that's called a tritone, one of the most dissonant sounds that we have in Western music. In addition to that, not only was the tritone used, but also the minor third, which creates a diminished arpeggio. That's what that is. That's a diminished arpeggio. which creates a feeling of, oh my gosh, something's gonna happen, right? So diminished is like, the bad guy with the mustache has tied the girl down on the train tracks. Oh no, the train is coming! Quick, the hero must save the day! Oh no, quickly before the train comes! That's diminished, right? And so I just did a meme of diminished right there for you, but you could hear in this Petrified Fury an unmemed version of that diminished sound, creating the, ooh, tension. All right, let's keep it going. Joseph Cortez. Whoa! Whoa, Nelly. Oh my. Oops. Nice. All right, so some really cool things to talk about here. So first off, we have this riff. Oh, so sick. Second time it goes. All right, so that's the key of D minor, and I wrote out the notes here for you. It goes 1 flat 3 2 flat 3 7 to flat 6 1 flat 3 2 flat 6 to 7. Now, here's an interesting thing. So we can actually think about all of this as being one motif. Now you might be saying, well, why can we think of it as a motif, and what on earth is a motif to begin with? The definition of a motif is the smallest recognizable idea in a gesture of music. You're saying, well, smallest recognizable idea. So if I recognize bop, bop, that's a motif? Yeah, if you could recognize it technically, it's a motif. Now, if you're a suspicious kind of person, or you're just a person who has your head screwed on the right way, you might be going, well, hang on a second. That seems like you could find a lot of different ways to find a piece of something that would be recognizable, which means there'd be a lot of ways of defining motifs. Correct. Enter the joyous world of understanding motifs and subphrases, which is music analysis. So basically, there's two different ways we could slice these motifs. The first way we could think about this is that right there, that rhythm, bum, bum, and then here, bum, bum. Same rhythm twice. So we can actually call this motif A, and we could call this motif B, and then ba 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 ba. Now that's motif C, but here's the thing, because it's all the same rhythm. So say this with me, ba ba, right? It's like long, short. Because we have that long, short 3 times in a row, what I would actually do is I'd call this motif A, ba ba, long, short. Motif A, ba ba. But because it's different notes, I'm going to give it a little apostrophe. That just shows same rhythm, different notes. And then what I'm going to do is this next one again, it's long, short. So I'm going to do MA again, but this time I'm going to give 2 apostrophes to show that it's even more different notes than before. And then what we'll do here is motif A repeats. So actually call it motif A1, motif A1, motif A1. Right, so we have motif A1 again, bum, bum, right? It's the same thing. We can see there's the 1 and the 3. Even if you know nothing about music, you can see 1, 3, 1, 3. Same thing, right? Bum, bum. We still have the 2 here, but instead of going to flat 3, here it goes to flat 6. So I'm going to call this motif A1, and I'm going to get 1, 2, 3 apostrophes to show it's the same rhythm, but it's different notes than here, different notes than here, and different notes than here. And then we have this little ball, which oftentimes the last motif in a piece of music is going to have an added note on the end of it to give it a feeling of resolution. Like you can listen to so many motifs from so many games just off the top of my head right now. Gareth Coker from Ark Survival, The Origin of Combat, you will hear that the last note of the motif, there's a long note. Also, I forget the composer's name, but whoever composed Ezio's Family Theme from Assassin's Creed, you can hear in that motif, the last A motif that it has, there's one note added onto the end. So a lot of times, a pattern for composing motifs is the last motif of the whole bunch of whatever the thing you're composing is. It's going to have an extra note. And that gets you just a feeling of conclusion, or a feeling of like we went somewhere and did something and now we can move on to the next thing. All right, let's keep cooking with this next one, which is going to be called Robot Getaway? Okay. Woo! Yeah! Ah. Sink. Oh, please drop that again. Oh my gosh, I really hope that drops again. Looks like not. We got the drop once, but I'll tell you, that was well worth it. That was a ton of fun, with also an interesting chord progression. Not a chord progression you hear every day. That chord progression right there we heard, we're in the key of D minor again. We heard a flat 6 as a power chord, to a 4 as a power chord, and then to the 1 as a power chord. And that sounds like this. One more time. Cool stuff, man. Let's keep it cooking. Horrors of Hoxes. You know, I don't know about you, but sometimes there's like made up names for like factions and things like that in games. And like, sometimes I have a genuine concern in my heart that I'm gonna say something that's like seriously insulting to someone in like their native language. I'm like, I see this word, I'm gonna make the sounds, I don't know what the sounds mean. All right, here we go. Again in the key of D. Oh, so cool. Nice. Oh, yes. Now, Wanted Records 5506 said in the chat that this was the composer's first professional piece of like released stuff. That's really cool because I gotta say, the mastering on this is just gorgeous. If you're wondering what is the mastering, well, here, let me explain to you. So basically, the way I think about it is there's 4 steps for composing music. The way I teach it, I call it the 4M composition protocol. So the first M is we make the music, right? That makes sense. It's the first thing that needs to happen. You need to make the music. And within make, there's really 2 steps. The first is composition, and then the second is arrangement. Okay? So composition, this is the what. This is the main idea that you're going to do. And then the arrangement is like how you're going to dress it up, right? So I could take the same melody. I could go, let's see, how about this? I'll just take 2 chords as an example. So 2 chords, we could go, or I could go, or I could go. In each case, it's the same content. You could hear it's related, but I dressed it up in different genres, right? So that's the arrangement, right? So you take the composition, the basic idea, and then you dress it up. All right, so that's the first M. Now the second M is going to be mix. So what happens when we mix? Well, this stage, the make, it's like getting all the ingredients to bake some cookies, right? So we got our milk, we got our sugar, we got our flour, and it's all spread out in front of us on a table. Then when we mix, what we do is we decide how much of each ingredient we're going to bring in and how we're going to present those ingredients, right? So if you're making chocolate chip cookies, you might have really big chocolate chunks, or you might have little teeny chocolate chunks, or you might have chocolate chips, or you might have caramel chocolate chips. There's many different ways you can present the idea of a chocolate chip cookie, right? So that's going to be mixing. So we have make, and then we have mix. Then we have mastering. So mastering is like when the cookies go in the oven, they get finalized. And mastering is when you take the mix that you made and you make sure it's going to translate correctly on earbuds, headphones, computer speakers, if it's coming out of a Switch console, right, a handheld thing. You want to make sure that the music translates correctly in all the different areas it's going to play in. And then the last M is going to be marketing. Marketing just means to make known. You've got to let people know about the stuff that you made, mixed, and mastered. So that's the 4M composition protocol. And so what I'm saying is that the actual mastering on this is delicious. The way that it's coming through in my headphones is just gorgeous, and I'm really enjoying it. Oh, and by the way, if you want to use the 4M composition protocol to make your own music, there's a free video game composer starter pack. Yeah, the link is in the pinned comment. Also, it's pinned in the chat, so it's also going to be in the description. Click on that if you're a gamer, you want to compose your own music. Now, let's keep it going with Principle of Darkness. Oh my. if I'm not playing My Sharona over Principle of Darkness, what are we even doing with our lives? Drop. 3, 2, 1. Now? No? Okay. Principle of Darkness. So much darkness going on there, and a little bit of the one-hit wonder band from the 70s, The Knacks, My Sharona, flown in on top of that because, I mean, we live once, so let's have some fun while we do it. All right, let's check out this next one, which is called The Shadows Are Moving. That's, I describe that as being a problem. I don't know if you've ever had a shadow move out of a corner of your eye, but like, it's never a good thing. It's like, it's usually, okay, so first of all, your nervous system usually is like, ah! But on top of that, if a shadow moves, it's like, we've got bigger problems. Anyway. There's that anvil again. Back to D minor. Oh. Yeah, dude. This sounds like dwarves. So right at the end of Shadows Are Moving, we heard a chord progression that sounded like this. We had a 1, ba, 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 to 5 minor, to 4 major, down to flat 3 major, and then going back to 1. Now, some connection that I just made just now, because I was thinking about the dwarves, darkness, danger business, is that we've heard the key of D minor an awful lot lately. You know what word also has a D in it? Dwarf. My friends, I did not come here to tell you and proclaim my genius in this world, but I gotta say, I feel like like my sleuth skills right here. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm just gonna say that like I found 2 matching letters, like I did back when I was 5 watching Sesame Street. And the fact that I carried that skill forward here today to share with you now, I don't want to be self-congratulatory here, but I think we cracked this one, kids. I'll check out the next one. feel like we just entered a totally different world. Ooh. Sounds like I'm watching CSI or something. The suspect broke in late last night at 5 a.m. Well, I Am Lost sure sounded like Lost. Let's go to Fighting the Shadows. Someone get the mosquito. Beautiful. We're going to go straight to the next one, which is called Fathomless Tomb, after this finishes playing. And right there. Let's check out Fathomless Tomb. This is a 9-minute odyssey. Buckle up, my buttercups. We're going on a journey. Let's see what this has in store for us. Beautiful. Gorgeous bass. Well, Fathomless Tomb, that took a long time. That was gorgeous. A very tasteful presentation, over 9 minutes to create such an effective story. We're not straight to Leave No Dwarf Behind. Get a little contrast up in here. Oh. Well, right at the end there, we heard a chord progression. We heard 1 in the key of E minor to flat 6 to flat 7 to 4. Bringing us back home to 1. Let's keep going. Ostinato there. man, the slow burn on these tracks is so good. Now, something to talk about in March of the Brave is the Avengers type chord progression. I don't even remember the Avengers theme, but you get the idea. And that's created by a 1 to a flat 6 to a 4 major. And the interesting thing between the flat 6 and the 4 major is that the flat 6, like in this case, is actually an A flat major chord, and the 4 major is an F major chord. And the A flat major chord has the notes of A flat, C, and E flat. And the F major chord has the notes of F, A, and C. So they share a C, but the change comes from the A to the A flat right there. That's the big contrast. Let's keep it going with Beneath the Crust, which is their version of Under the Sea, I suppose. Beneath the crust, doors with beard and metal that likes to rust. All right, this next one's called Carl's End. Heads up, you can hear a little noise right here. So turn your volume down. You got 3 seconds to turn your volume down. 3, 2, 1, turn your volume down. All right, here it goes. Little noise. All right. Let's keep this thing going. only seated. This feels like a seated OST. It's not a standing OST. Well, I will say Carl's End, we're going to bring that to an end. And I think one thing that really is, I'm picking up from this OST is just how much space is just being implied in the music alone. Like, it just feels like there's just nothing. Just the nothingness of space is really translating quite well with this minimalist. I'm going to go ahead and call it minimalist. I mean, it's like atmospheric minimalist type thing going on here with like a couple ostinatos here. Let's check out A Matter of Skill and Ammunition. And just a heads up too before we head into this, we also have 3 tracks from Volume 2. We're going to listen to Run, Dreadnought, and Welcome to Darkness from Volume 2 today. So hang out for that. Interesting harmonica. And we're going to check out The Only Way Is Through. All right, beautiful people. I'm transparently I've had enough ambient for one day here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Ode to the Fallen, then we're gonna listen to the requested tracks from Volume 2, which is what everyone really seems to be excited about anyway, which is gonna be Run, Dance of Dreadnought, and Welcome to Darkness. So let's check out Ode to Fallen, and then we'll go on to part 2. Yes! Oh, we got something going on, homies. Let's go. All right, fantastic. Let's check out Welcome to Darkness from Volume 2. Oh, come on now, let's go. That anvil in the back there. Drop it! No! Man, we could have just skipped Volume 1 and gone to this. It's just like... Everyone in the chat's like, yes, Volume 2 is my favorite. What are you gonna do? Yes! Volume 2 is in the house. Let's go! I want to turn this up. Wow, what a variation we heard across this entire Deep Rock Galactic soundtrack. We spent a lot of time listening to a lot of ambient stuff, and I'll tell you, it was at the very least a learning experience for me, hearing some new types of ambient music, because I normally don't take time out of my day to listen to ambient music. It's just not something that I usually do. So this was a really cool learning experience for me. Also, really interesting soundtrack. I've never heard anything quite like it. Dwarves in space. What's that going to sound like? It's probably going to sound like something you never heard before, because when was the last time you saw dwarves in space? Really. So, fantastic soundtrack. Overall, really, really tremendous. I enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. We're going to call it here. Like, subscribe, crush that notification bell. And again, if you're a gamer, you want to create your own music, there's a free video game composer starter pack in the pinned comment. It's in the description and the pinned chat. Go grab that, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.